Welcome to the After the Show Movie Podcast, brought to you by your hosts, Ascully and Cidtalk. We're addicted to movies. Are you? Welcome to this fine Friday afternoon. Cidtalk?
Good day. You got me in the middle of a yawn already.
Already?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Doesn't take you long to get yawny.
Correct.
What's the before the after the show discussion?
Surprisingly, not this movie. Or not surprisingly.
Maybe a little bit about this movie.
Me giving myself a pat on the back for making a cute little banner, and you making some tea and
doing stuff.
Yeah.
Regular stuff.
It's super exciting in the world of podcasting. It's very glamorous, kids.
Well, let's get on to the podcast. It's Friday, July the 19th. This is After the Show. We're a movie review podcast. Every week we look at a new movie. And on episode 848, we're looking at the new movie, Tarot. It's a 2024 movie, out now on Blu-ray, rated PG-13. Runtime is 1 hour and 32 minutes from our friends at Sony, who sent us the Blu-ray for review. Cidtalk's going to give you her made-up synopsis, then I'll give you the one off the box.
My made-up synopsis. What movie did we watch? It's called Tarot. It's got a bloody-looking hand on the front.
Yeah.
So someone reads some tarot cards, or tarot, as the one character says in the movie, and bad things happen. That's it. That's it.
I'll give you the one off the box.
You can't be better than that.
When a group of friends recklessly violates the sacred rule of tarot readings, never use somebody else's deck. They unknowingly unleash an unspeakable evil trapped within the cursed cards. One by one, they come face to face with fate and end up in a race against death to escape the future foretold in their readings.
Well, it's really long, and
it's longer than the movie. That
it is, and I had actually, the part about them using someone else's tarot cards just totally, I mean, they mention it.
They mention it more than once.
Not really. She said it when she read them.
And then they say it later on when they're telling the old lady.
Yeah. Well, she's just saying, what cards did you use? Are they yours? And she's like, no. But other than that, it's such a non-feature. For that to be on the box is hilarious. All
right. So Tarot is the latest horror movie from Sony. It's a PG-13 horror movie. So I had that certain expectation, which is kind of what it is. These PG-13 horror movies always end up being a little disappointing to me because this movie's full of people getting murdered.
Correct.
But it's very bloodless.
It's bloodless, but also horrific. So they kind of skirted that little balance there.
So what did you think of Tarot?
Okay, I'm going to say it. It was super boring. Some of it looked really nice, and some of the special effects, like the drawings on the tarot cards, like death and the Joker and whatnot, come to life, essentially, or manifest in real life. And those looked good. I thought those all looked really good. The Joker was my favorite when he was all weird and twisty around and then walking around in the hallway and he looked really creepy.
Yep.
That all looked really good. Everything else, dialogue, performances, the story. I mean, my God, I had times I literally, and I do not do this, so don't put me in this group. I do not ever pick up my phone, but I had a very strong urge to. And that never happens to me. What did you think?
This movie was based on a book, I noticed at the end. When I read into it and when I had a look on Wikipedia, it said it's very loosely based on this book.
Mm-hmm.
So what I thought of the movie was it was actually what I expected it to be. A PG-13 horror usually comes off this way. Kind of ropey dialogue aimed at teenage audiences, I feel.
I don't think this one
because
is, though.
Nothing in this movie, apart from jump scares, nothing in it is scary, I don't think. Not to me anyway.
I don't know if that's reasonable because I think teenagers are smarter than this. So I don't know who this is actually pointed at.
Dumb teenagers then, specifically.
Just dumb people?
Yeah.
No offense if you liked it and you really loved
the
it.
The kind who would go to the theater and sit on the cell phone and just look up at the screen every now and then is kind of played to that audience.
It's like there's part right where in the beginning she gives everybody's tarot readings because it's a birthday party. And of course, each one of them has sort of like an up and a down, as every tarot card reading horoscope does. You're going to be confronted with decisions and you might make the wrong decision, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then you're going to get a harsh blow and you're going to take the wrong track and whatever the little...
real obvious shit.
Right. So throughout the movie then, because it was so blasé and boring, that part, then later in the movie when each character is confronted with what you even said was like, what's it called? The franchise?
Final Destination.
Final Destination. When each character is getting faced now with their their fated death, they have to do a voiceover to remind us what she said. Like an actual voiceover of her saying what she said at the beginning of the movie. Because they didn't do it well, and it wasn't delivered in an interesting way. It wasn't dynamic or memorable in any way. So then as we go through the movie, it has to retell us. So like, yeah, if you weren't paying close attention, they just keep reminding you. I felt like that was like, I don't know, really cheap.
I thought it started off really promising because I really liked the first kill, let's say.
Right.
And the first kill was just a really atmospheric, it's in this moody house. And there's a ladder in a loft, basically, that keeps... she's like...
I found that really boring, and I was like, why?
See, I thought the visuals of that were really good, and I was like, okay, if this is the beginning of it, it's going to get progressively better in terms of kills. But I think the kills got more and more, like, just nothing. Like, they weren't very interesting as they went on. The one with the girl getting sawed in half in a box was quite well shot, but it wasn't, again, because it's a PG-13, they can't really go very far with it.
It took too long. And I'm telling every filmmaker out there in the world, I want you to listen to this because I know you're all listening. Every director, every producer, every set director, every performer, everybody who makes movies. I don't want to see, I'm gritting my teeth because it's really irritating to me. I don't want to see any more fucking snotty noses. I don't want to see a grown person who's crying with snot running out of their nose.
I never saw any.
Oh my God, the girl in the box, that's all she was doing was snot just gushing out of her nose. And first of all, I get it. She's supposed to be terrified, but you're also trying to make a statement like, oh, she's so scared she's blubberingly crying. Yeah, you know what I would do? Even if someone was about to saw me in half, I would pull my shirt up and wipe my fucking nose. Because it's absolutely...
This is a very specific complaint.
It is, but this is the problem. With movies where my mind and my whole movie loving self is not engaged. And I'm thinking of the movie makers at that time, the filmmakers, the set director, the person who does the makeup and the performer. And I'm thinking of, I'm on the set. I'm watching from over the director's shoulder. And I'm thinking to myself, you need to have yelled cut. Hey, so-and-so, whatever your name is, who's got the runny nose. It might have been Avantika. I'm not sure. I think Paige was the character. Let's not do the runny nose. It's not playing well, or it's really not necessary. It's a bit much. Let's clean her up and do it again, right? That's what I'm actually thinking.
It's probably fake runny nose though, right?
I don't think so. It's not coming out of her nose. Like some performers seem to think, since what's her name did it in Doubt when she was crying about her son and her nose got all drippy and runny. Remember her?
My most famous snotty nose movie is The Blair Witch Project.
Yes, that one as well. Yeah. She has a shirt and a jacket. She can wipe her goddamn nose. When I go on this talking about this for like a whole minute or two, it's because that's what's on my mind while I'm watching the movie.
Some positives. I thought that the set pieces were particularly well designed. There's some good lighting, some really good sound design.
Lots of good looks in this movie, for sure. Editing, not so much.
Some good creatures, even.
Yes, absolutely. Like I said, very good. They looked good.
Yeah.
Designed nicely.
There's all that stuff where you're like, oh, that's really cool. And I like, just a simple thing like where this guy goes down into a subway and all the lights are, I know it's a real tropey thing that you've seen a million times, but it looked really good the way the lights.
Yes, it was well lit. It was well, the shots were composed nicely.
Really good, like surround sound that like a big thing comes out behind you or something. All that is good.
It is not enough.
But then the actual, like the performances are not good. It feels very exposition-y heavy, like everybody's telling you shit all the time.
Oh, you reckon when they find the woman who tells them everything?
Who literally talks to the camera.
I'll be honest. When they show us the flashback of the reason that these tarot cards are like haunted by this original woman.
Those look like good things.
They looked good. And I'm thinking, I want to see the movie.
No, don't say that.
About the original lady. That's the one that looked more interesting.
Don't say that because that'll be coming next.
But that's fine. As long as it's good.
Right.
Because that looked more interesting to me than what was happening in the now.
Yeah, and now this movie is like, it's so cookie cutter in terms of the rest of it, like teenagers.
Well, they're college. They're not teenagers.
Stupid. There was a moment where I was like, why is nobody contacting the parents? And then one of the characters actually said, why don't we contact our parents? And the other person said, what are you, 3 years old?
Yeah, because they're not kids. They're all in college.
But I mean, something very, very major just happened in your life, aka one of your friends got murdered.
True.
You would contact your parents. Not just like, let's go on with our lives, dude.
But then I guess you'd have to take the movie down that whole route, and each kid would have, or each college student would have to say, like, well, my mom wants me to come home, and my dad says he's going to come and help us. And you know what I mean? You're going down a whole route of storytelling. It might have made it more
interesting, at least. Somebody turns up to try and help them. I don't know.
Here, let's rewrite it for them. So they all decide to call their parents. One of them calls their mom, and their mom says, what are you talking about? Did you do a tarot reading? What kind of cards were they? And this mother of one of them is somehow connected, right? That could be interesting, more interesting-er.
I'm already bored of that idea. I tried to come up with the positives. The negatives are, let's get on to the cast.
What a segue.
Harriet Slater. Well, I'll just tell you the cast, right? We've got Harriet Slater Haley, Aidan Bradley Grant, Jacob Batalon Paxton, Avantika Page, and Humberly Gonzalez as Madeline, and Wolfgang Novogratz as Lucas. It's just your average
combination,
bunch of young people.
A generic ensemble.
They've all got like a trope to them.
But like, they don't. Oh, I disagree.
Like there's like the clownish kid. There's like
he's the only one.
There's the like handsome looking guy.
What you're about to say, none of it is actually told to us through any story.
Just looking at them.
Yeah, there's nothing of substance to define any of these people. Her tarot card reading, to one of them, she says, you're a bit of a control freak. Nothing else happens. That girl just dies and we have nothing else about her whatsoever. The one guy eats a potato chip that fell on the floor because he's willing to eat food off the floor.
Yeah, it tries to set them all up in that beginning.
But it doesn't. It's fails.
It doesn't, but they are all tropey is what I'm getting at.
So what I'm saying is they don't even make it to the tropey level. There's nothing there other than the goofy guy.
It's just average. Like you've seen them a million times. You know they're all going to die, probably. That's it, right? That's what you set up for. You're like, okay, when are they all going to die? To my amazement, the lines they deliver are awful. It's partly the script, too. The script is not good. It's a lot of explaining. There can be like horror in like the corner of the frame, and two people are talking. It's just wrong. Like it's like they're trying to explain to the audience what.
I don't recall any of that. Give me an example.
It's near the end where he goes through the window. They're just having a chat, and then there's horror going on, and then there's a lot of stuff like that where I was like, this is unnecessary. It should just be action at this point. We shouldn't be having a chat here. All your friends are dead. It's not lovey-dovey time. At the end, right? It's not like you've got to get out of this place. You're in. It's like
they're trying to do the beats, as they call it. So we've got an action beat and then a romance beat. And then we've got a tension reliever and then we've got a tension beat. And then we've got more horror beat and then we've got some more romance. And then we got a comedy beat. And they try to time it so like every 7 to 8 minutes, there's a change of pace. I mean, this is actual literal formulas for movie making. And some movies can pull it off beautifully. I'm not opposed to formulas at all. But this one was like, that's why I said the editing was also weird. Like there were shots where, okay, we got a thing going on. And then all of a sudden the shot we see is like her putting her hand on her head and him taking a step toward her. And then the next shot, something completely different. And that never comes to anything. It was like a weird, I don't know, the editing was questionable.
Well, back to the cast here. We've also got Olwen Ferrer as Alma, the old lady, I called her. And they literally meet this character in the middle of the movie who, explains everything to you, the audience.
The history of the tarot cards, yep.
Yeah. And then I thought she was going to be useful in the movie, but then she's not.
Yeah, I think that was supposed to be them going like, ooh, let's change it up.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
And I also think they were doing the let's change it up at the beginning where they set it up, oh, we're in this like spooky looking house. They start doing the tarot card thing and then the credits and then, oh, we're not in a spooky house anymore. Me thinking it's a whole spooky house movie.
Right.
Now they do return to a spooky house at the end, but the middle of the movie is not. It's more Final Destination. Like they're in their normal lives.
Yep. And that makes it very uninteresting.
Would you rather it be in the spooky house the entire time?
Depends. I mean, you have to write it well. If this was all in the spooky house, no, it wouldn't be any better.
No, I don't think so.
But if you're talking about telling me a story without intentionally trying to be more cool, which is really obnoxious, then I don't know. I think it all depends on how you tell me the story.
So moving on to the director, it's directed by two people, Spencer Cohen and Anna Hallberg. What I'd looked at, they'd done some directing before, but not a major motion picture. But they did write the screenplay for Moonfall. Does that explain anything to you?
Moonfall.
Yep.
Which one was that?
It's a disaster movie where the moon falls out of the sky.
I have to revisit it somehow.
It had the dude from Game of Thrones, like the kind of fattish Game of Thrones dude.
What?
From the first. You remember him?
No.
It's like he was like a servant of some kind or something, like a little like.
I mean,
apprentice.
what I'm saying is I don't remember the movie, so it doesn't matter who was in it.
Oh, the movie had like the movie was Moonfall. It was by the Emmerich, you know, the ones who did Godzilla and all that kind of stuff.
2012.
The moon was going to fall out of the sky. The whole world was going to die.
And was the moon then not
the moon was
really
some kind
the moon?
of alien shit.
Okay, now I remember.
Yeah, well, remember that movie and remember how weird it was.
I don't know. Weird doesn't bother me, but if it's not told to me in a way that...
No, I mean weird as in how weirdly it was told.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they wrote that.
Storytelling people. What you're doing when you're making a movie or film or writing a book or making a 2-minute long TikTok video. I don't care what it is. You're telling me a story that needs to be contained in that art piece that you're doing. If it isn't, and I'm confused, if that's your intention, great. I don't think that was the case here. I wasn't supposed to be like...
I don't think this movie was confusing. It was just not that interesting. That was the problem, right?
It was confusing as in, first of all, there's actually no real basis for why this box is at this house and why any of that stuff. Again, it's like super random. But then so is Finding the Necronomicon, right?
Yeah.
Random and weird.
That old lady said the box had been missing and then somebody bought it and something.
And that was it. Like no interesting part of that at all.
No, that's how it ended up there. But what, they were just rented that house for like a... Yeah, that was unclear. I was unclear.
Oh, no, that's normal. Like you're renting like a B&B kind of a thing.
Right, but it's a freaking
like an
stately
Airbnb.
home.
Yeah, but I'm sure you can.
Yeah, but are these people... Oh, yeah. Actually, I was going to say, are these kids rich or something? But they were driving some very nice vehicles.
They were, yeah.
Yeah, they're not schlubs. IMDB reviews, what are those?
Those are reviews you're going to read where people didn't love this movie. And sometimes we agree with the 1-star reviews.
When we don't like the movie, we should read the opposite.
Oh, true. You should find the 10s, the 5 stars.
Maybe that should be a new feature. Should I reverse it? Flip it and reverse it?
Flip it and reverse it.
All right. These are the people who love this movie and give it 10 out of 10.
You mean 5 out of 5?
No, 10 out of 10 on
There's a
IMDb.
10 on IMDb?
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay.
So 10 out of 10. First guy says, how many of us came to horror movies through middle school sleepovers? You're 12 to 14 and a bunch of your best friends are crammed into a basement. These movies are what I grew up on, and this movie is great.
Oh my.
The kills are creative and wicked. Everything you need from a PG-13 summer horror flick.
Okay, that sounds like some promotional person. That is not a real person.
And the second one says, this movie starts off with a slow pace, but escalates very quickly. It's very direct and has a lot of jump scare moments. The screenplay is well paced. The actors do great justice to their roles. The movie totally deserves your attention and leaves you wanting more. I'm waiting for Tarot 2.
Okay, another one. Okay, here's what I'm figuring out from these 2 reviews you just read. All the ones that are like 1 star at least seem honest, right? Like the truth. Somebody says, this movie is a waste of my time. Period. That's all they write. They don't elaborate. Some people do, but very few people do. And I feel like that's the person who's like, this movie sucks so bad. I'm literally going to go and type in what I think. And this movie's a waste of time and what a blah, 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 da, da, da. That seems to be the truth, even if I disagree sometimes. These that you're reading now, ew, I feel like it's generated.
Number 3 says, I'm so thankful to my girlfriend. She wanted to see this. I was a skeptic in the beginning, but I'm definitely not sorry. The plot was amazing. It kept me on the edge of my seat. Everything was carefully planned and there are no plot holes whatsoever.
Oh my God.
If you still haven't watched this, you better hurry. The cast have some of the best acting I've ever seen. The movie takes you to another perspective on life, and it was absolutely life-changing for me.
Lie, total lie. That one is complete fake.
Yeah, maybe this is the director, the 2 directors. Anyway, out of 10 out of 10, the 10-star reviews, there are 30 of them, right?
Yeah.
30 people at least think this is a 10 out of 10.
No, they don't.
How many do you think give it a 1-star review?
500.
22.
Oh, okay.
So less people, if you look at it on that scale, less people didn't like it.
That's why they're all out of fake good ones.
Yeah. The 10 out of 10s do seem very carefully like, let's try and make this movie seem better so people go and see it.
I don't even think anybody thought about it. I think they're totally generated.
No, I don't think they're generated.
I'm on the side of generated.
I think they're on the side of...
The one about life-changing and shit, there's no way somebody wrote that. They just said, like, generate a...
They might have been taking the piss.
Maybe.
Like, I'm going to put a 10... I hated this movie, but I'm going to put a 10 out of 10
lure
review.
people in.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
maybe.
the ball.
Like, sucks to be them when they go and see it. That kind of thing. There are some extras on this disc, but we didn't look at them because after the movie, we just looked at each other and went, you said, who would watch extras for this movie?
Yes, I did.
But I'll tell you what the extras are. It's a twist of fate making the film and a circle of friends and killer outtakes.
Ew.
So let's give this movie a score. I'm going to give Tarot a 3 out of 10.
Me too. Listen to us.
I can appreciate there's some cool creatures and stuff.
Yep.
And the filmmaking's all right. I say all right in brackets. I think the acting and the script is not good.
Correct. All correct.
Yeah. So thank you to Sony. Next week, we're going to look at the movie Challengers. It's a movie based around the world of tennis.
Okay.
So we'll watch that next week. Movie recommendations, I am going with 2 horror movies that I really do like. So it's like a palate cleanser for this movie. The remake of Evil Dead from 2016, which is horrific as shit. And Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead, which is awesome.
You do like both of those, yes.
Yeah. So yours are?
Mine are going back to the 20th century. That's from 1900 to 1999. Action adventure movies that I've seen. This is not a promotion of quality. It just is that they're on the list. So I have The Deep.
Like The Deep off the Boys, that guy.
I don't think so.
Like the movie, The Deep.
I have Airport 79, Airport 77, Airport 1975, and Airport. So we were kind of into the disaster movies there for a while in the 70s and 80s. So there were a lot of plane crashing incidents.
There's a lot of plane crashing, ships turning over.
Yeah. Poseidon, a building burning down, burning Inferno.
Tower in Inferno.
Tower Inferno.
Yeah. Yeah, we were into that. I'm into that. I would like to see modern, that sort of stuff.
Disaster movies, basically.
I mean, we're going to get Twisters later this year, so
correct.
That's a disaster movie. Thank you, Cidtalk.
No problem. Anytime.
Ascully stuff. I've been playing one new game this week. It's called Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. And it is Warner Brothers and Rocksteady's new, well, it's not new because it's been out for a while. And if you were paying attention, on Amazon Prime Day, they gave away 3 free games, and this was one of them. It's actually like a $60, $70 game, but for that day only, you could claim it and play it. So I've been playing it most of the week. It's really kind of a cool game. You're playing as one of the Justice League, either Harley Quinn, King Shark, Deadshot, or is it Captain Kangaroo? Is that what the other guy's called? The Australian guy?
I have no idea.
You've seen the Justice League movies. I mean, the Suicide Squad movies.
And you think I remember their names?
Yeah.
No.
So you can be one of those, and I'm playing as Harley Quinn because she's the coolest, and she's got a cool move where she can like swing in the air from like a drone, Batman's drone. You're playing as a Suicide Squad, and you're up against the Justice League. So it's a flip on its head kind of thing. So the Brainiac has turned up in town. He has like hypnotized the whole of the Justice League, Wonder Woman, Superman, all of those. And they're the bad guys. And they're just murdering people. There's actually a scene at the beginning of the game where Batman goes into a building and just murders everybody in the building. So you know right up front, oh, the superheroes are bad. Like, Batman is not what you think he is. So you're sent out by Waller, the same as in the movies, to kill the Justice League. And she's like, yeah, good luck. The villains they haven't got powers really, have they? Harley Quinn's just a person.
Yeah.
Right? So up against Superman, how's she going to win? You go out into this open world and missions unfold and you're taking out... Now, I'm only at the beginning, really. And I've just got the mission to go and kill the Green Lantern. So I think it builds up. Starts with the Green Lantern and probably ends with Superman. But as the Justice League, you're going in there and you somehow have to take out these gods, essentially. So that's the fun part. So it's out now. You can't get it for free anymore, unfortunately. You have to go and pay $70 for it. It's called Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, and it's from Rocksteady Games, the people who made the Batman Arkham games, which were huge hits back in the day. Cidtalk, what's for dinner?
Tonight you'll be making some soup, and I'm not sure what it consists of, so you tell the people.
Some kind of corn and onion soup.
Yum. I'm into it.
Yeah. And what is your advice? And let's get out of it.
My advice isn't advice, of course, as usual. But there's something I've discovered about myself. So on social media stuff like the Facebook and the Instagram and all those things, I don't unfriend anyone. And I will accept a friend request from any legitimate person who I know. I'm not saying like just friend me and I'll be your friend. I mean, people I know from life. If you send me a friend request, I confirm that it's really you with security questions or some other way, I will be your friend. That being said, a lot of people on my friends list in the digital universe, I would distance myself and do in this plane of existence. Do you see what I'm saying? I don't necessarily need to be around people, some people in my life. And yet the digital world, I have no problem being like, I'll stay connected and they can see what I think and they can see what I post and I'll see what they post and I don't mind. It's like I don't know, that's a new phenomenon, obviously, because social media and stuff didn't exist 30, 40 years ago. But I do not reject people in the digital side. Even if someone I'm not super friendly-ish with in real life, if they text me and I text them back and forth, that's fine too. But in my life, in the physical life, no. You're not coming to my house. I'm not coming to visit you. I'm not going to hang out with you. But somehow the digital wall around me is, I don't know. Is that a thing? That must be a thing.
No.
Because some people will reject and reject in real life, reject on the digital plane. And that's it. I want to know nothing about you.
That's me, really. I reject.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not that because I want to know, I don't want harm to come to people. So when someone has something bad going on, I don't mind seeing that they've posted or, like stay that sort of level of connected. I won't involve myself necessarily, but I don't want them knocking on my door.
Yes.
That has to be some sort of psychological thing that I've fallen into some trap of some kind. So if you do that too, Or you do the opposite. Let's say you want people in your life, but you don't want to know anything about them online, which I find also kind of interesting. That's a thing I've known of people to say, oh, well, she's my friend, but I will never follow her on Facebook because I don't want to see what she says and the posts that she does about politics or whatever. But in real life, like we go out to supper every week. You know what I mean? So that's the opposite thing.
Right.
That's it. It's not advice, just a thing.
Very well said.
Was it though? Thank you.
Yeah. Ascully.com. That's the place you can go to get this podcast. You can catch us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I'm Ascully, she's Cidtalk. We're also on Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Music, YouTube, anywhere that podcasts are available. Email feedback to me, ascully@ascully.com. Do not email Cidtalk. She doesn't want your email. And stay classy. Other movies apart from Tarot.
I'm going to say, think for yourselves, because if you're not doing it, someone's doing it for you.